In this video tutorial, I will be demonstrating exercise 6.2, configuring IP address restrictions, exercise 6.3, configuring anonymous authentication, exercise 6.4, using basic and Windows authentication, and exercise 6.5, configuring SSL. In this exercise, we will be controlling access to a website based on the IP addresses of the client computers. So the first thing that we need to do is install the role service that will allow us to restrict the access to the website depending on the IP address or domain. So we do this by going to the server manager and clicking on the web server node. We're going to click add role services. We're going to check the IP and domain restrictions role service. We're going to let it install. We're going to click close when it finishes. And as you can see right now, we do have access to the default website by typing in the loopback address. Now if we go over to our partner server, 2020 server 02, and type in 2020 server 01.contoso.com, we will also be brought back to the same website. And we have to use 2020 server 01 because we have no DNS CNAME record. Now that we've made it back over to 2020 server 01, we're going to go to the IIS manager. Then in order to configure the IP address and domain restrictions, we will go to the default website and click on the IPv4 address and domain restrictions icon. Then we're going to click Edit Feature Settings and change this to Deny, as you can see here, and click OK. Now, if we go back to the Internet Explorer and type in the 127.0.0.1, you'll see that we do not have the access required to access the website. And we'll make our way on back over to our partner server just to show you that we still don't have access to the website because of the deny policy we have in effect. So right now we're going to pull some IP address information from our partner server, which we'll be using here in a bit. And after we jot this down on the notes, we're going to work our way back over to 2020 server 01. And we're going to open back up the IIS manager and we're going to add allow entry. And the IP address that we wrote down for our partner server, we're going to be adding that here, which is 10.1.1.102. We're going to click OK. This is going to grant us access on our partner server, only our partner server, as you can see, for the website, so we can access it. So when we go back here and click refresh, we can access it on our partner server. Now we're going to add another allow entry and set this one to the whole IP address range of 10.1.1.0. And this encompasses all of the IP addresses in this range. We're going to leave our subnet mask to 255.255.255.0. We're going to click OK just to close out of this. And in preparation for our next exercise, we're going to edit the feature setting to allow. As you can see, we can access them. In this exercise, we'll be configuring the properties of IIS's anonymous authentication module. And as you can see, I've already created a user, IUSR01, and added it to the IIS underscore IUSR's group. And then we're going to edit this, and we're going to set the credentials to the user account that we just created. So we're going to type in contoso /IUSR01 and the password. Now just as test things, we're going to go into the Active Directory users and computers snap-in, and we're going to disable the account that we just made. And after that, we're going to close out of all of our open windows here, and we're going to restart the server here in 2020 Server 01. Now that our server has restarted, we're going to work our way over to the Internet Explorer, and we're going to type in our loopback address, which is the address to our default website. As you can see, we don't have proper access because we disabled the account that the anonymous authentication module will be using to access the virtual directory, or the default file rather. And now we're just going to go and reactivate the account. We will also go back to the IIS manager, and we're going to restart the default website. And as you can see, we can access the website. This is because we enabled the account that we needed to be able to access with the proper authentication. In this exercise, we will be configuring an IIS website to use the basic and Windows authentication modules. As you can see, I've already installed them, just to save time on our video here. So the first thing we're going to do is enable basic authentication. And as you can see, we can still access the default website. And this is because we have not yet configured all that we need to configure in order to restrict access. So now what we're going to do is we're going to disable the anonymous authentication, and then we're going to go back to our Internet Explorer, and we're going to go back to the same website. Now you can see that we have to enter a password. We're going to do student01. As you can see, that doesn't work. And after 3 failed attempts, we're going to get this page. This is because we have to include contoso / because we're in the domain. As you can see, as soon as we did that, it loaded up our website for us. So right now we're going to enable our Windows authentication with our basic still enabled and our anonymous still disabled. We're going to navigate back to the same website. As you can see, we still have to enter in some credentials. But as soon as we enter in our credentials, we can access the website, no problem. And for our next video, we're just going to enable our anonymous authentication and disable our basic and Windows authentication. In this exercise, we're going to configure a website to use SSL encryption. The first thing we want to do is to create a certificate that we're going to be able to use with SSL. And we want to make sure we create a self-signed certificate since we are only working with intranet websites. And we're just going to name it Server01, something simple. As you can see, here are some of the basic details. Issued to 2020 Server 01, issued by 2020 Server 01. That's why it's called a self-signed certificate. We're going to go back over to our default website. We're going to edit the bindings to enable us to use SSL. We're going to click Edit, we're going to change our type from HTTP to HTTPS. And where it says SSL certificate, we're going to select the certificate that we just created. And notice the port change from 80 to 443. The last thing we have to do is enable the SSL settings to require SSL and 128-bit SSL. This requires all websites on the intranet to have to use SSL in order to be accessed. So you can see here, we're not using the S on HTTPS, and this is the page that we're getting returned. If we go and type in S, we can access the website no problem. We're going to go back over to our partner server, and we're going to type in the same address that we did on our server. And as you can see, we still get the access denied. When we add the S, we still won't be able to access it because we have not yet configured SSL to act in that manner. This is the end of my video tutorial for Lab 6 and INTC 20.